So, on a lot of ponds I see, every time that happens. So, on a lot of ponds I see people, fishing like near the entrances of reeds and areas where there aren't reeds. And in a lot of ponds, especially where I live, there's lots of reeds along the bank. And you can't really see it right now, but these reeds go almost halfway around the pond here. And a lot of people are never going to fish over here. I never see anyone fish. And that's not good for them, but it's great for us and people watching these videos and people that, bass fish a lot and know a lot. And these reeds are amazing areas for bass to hold in. And you can still fish them easily. If you use a heavy weight, like with a soft plastic, like a worm or something, you can lob it up and let it sink and fall through. You hear a splash of water, you're in the water. That's all you need. And then feel your line. If the line starts moving and running, set the hook. It's that simple. Like, these reeds are almost snag proof. Like, if you use a heavy action rod or extra heavy rod like this with a fast action tip or extra fast tip, you're not going to have an issue at all. Especially if you use braid or like 20-25 pound test. Even if you get hooked in one of those reeds, you can just rip it right out. Like, you're probably not going to lose your lure as long as you make sure your line's not break. And even if it does get stuck in there, you could even walk in there if you had boots on. Maybe you'd take your shoes off if there aren't any hooks around. But, yeah, these are fantastic areas to fish. Make sure you don't pass these up. Like, all you have to do is flip the lure right over the reeds and just make sure you hear a splash. And then you're in the water. That's all you need. If you're in the water, you're fishing, and heavy cover bass are in there. Like, people will be like, oh, that's too dense, bass couldn't be in there. Yeah, right. I pitched so many lures into the densest reeds, I was like, holy crap, a bass couldn't even go in there. Like, he'd have to like do some crazy contortions to try to get his way in there. Well, I guess they do, because there are always bass in these reeds. If you pitch in there and flip your lures in there, they're gonna be there. Like, unless if, maybe it's the spring, maybe it's colder, and the bass are, out swimming around in the water trying to get to areas that are warm where there's sunshine, maybe that's different. But in the summertime, when the bass are trying to get out of the sun, trying to get into some cool water, these reeds are a really, really great place to fish. So when I'm looking at a bed of reeds, cattails, whatever you want to call them, you can fish all of them pretty much, but it's usually easier and a little bit higher chance of catching a bass when you fish the pockets. So, I don't know if you can see it, but over top here, it goes almost like a U. The reeds wrap around this pocket, and then there's a couple little sprouts of reeds coming up towards the middle of the opening of the U. And that's an amazing place to fish for bass, because I guarantee you hardly anyone ever throws any lure in there. And this is an area for bass to ambush. There's points. There's 2 points in there. And then there's also that patch of reeds in the center, which is a great ambush point because bait fish could be coming in from all sides. They could be leaving out the reeds.